Let us discuss determination of acidity. The aim of the experiment is to determine the acidity present in the given water sample. Acidity is a measure of capacity of water to neutralize bases, or acidity of water is its quantitative capacity to react with strong base to a designated pH. Hydrogen ions present in a sample as a result of dissociation or hydrolysis of solutes are neutralized by titration with standard alkali. The acidity thus depends upon the endpoint pH or indicator used. Dissolved carbon dioxide is usually the major acidic component of unpolluted surface water. In a sample containing only carbon dioxide bicarbonate carbonates, titration to pH 8.3 at 25 degree corresponds to stoichiometric neutralization of carbonic acid to bicarbonate. As the color change of phenolphthalein indicator is close to pH 8.3, this value is generally accepted as a standard endpoint for titration of total acidity including carbon dioxide and mineral acids. Mineral acids are measured by titration to pH of about 4.5 using methyl orange as indicator. Mineral acidity is also called methyl orange acidity. Thus, to bring about color changes at pH 4.5 and 8.3, usually mineral acidity and total acidity respectively, are determined. Apparatus required: buret with buret stand and porcelain tile, pipette, pipette bulb, conical flask, wash bottle. Chemicals required: sodium hydroxide, phenolphthalein indicator, methyl orange indicator, distilled water. Experimental procedure: pipette 10 ml of the sample to the flask, add 1 or 2 drops of methyl orange indicator. Sample is then titrated against standard sodium hydroxide. The end point is noted when the color changes from red to orange. Then titrate value is recorded as V1. Add 1 or 2 drops of phenolphthalein indicator. The titration is continued until the color changed to faint pink. The volume of the titrant used ID noted as V2. Data collection and tabulation is shown in the table. Mineral acidity as milligram per liter of CaCO3 is equal to V1 into N into 50 into 1000 by volume of sample. Total acidity as milligram per liter of CaCO3 is equal to V2 into N into 50 into 1000 by volume of sample. Carbon dioxide acidity as milligram per liter of CaCO3 is equal to total acidity minus mineral acidity. The results of mineral acidity as milligram per liter of CaCO3, total acidity as milligram per liter of CaCO3, carbon dioxide acidity as milligram per liter of CaCO3 are presented.
Hello everyone. Today we are going to conduct the acidity test. Aim of the experiment is to determine the acidity of the given water sample. Acidity is a measure of capacity of water to neutralize base. The apparatus required for the experiment are pipette, that is 10 ml pipette to withdraw 10 ml sample of water. Funnel, which is required to transfer the sulfuric acid into the buret. Conical flask, 250 ml of conical flask, which is used to collect the water sample for the test. Buret, that is 50 ml buret, which is used to collect the sulfuric acid for the test. The reagents required for the experiment are 0.1 normal NaOH, that is sodium hydroxide, that is to be taken in the buret for the acidity test. We require methyl orange indicator. When we add this to the sample, the color changes to orange. We require phenolphthalein indicator, which is used in the alkalinity test mainly to neutralize the hydroxyl ions. And then the water sample. This is water sample that is to be taken in the conical flask for the acidity test. So before starting with the experiment, we need to rinse all the glasswares, that is the pipette, the funnel, conical flask and buret. So we will rinse the pipette with the distilled water. Rinse the funnel with the distilled water. Also rinse the conical flask with the distilled water. Next we need to rinse the buret with the distilled water. So after rinsing all the glasswares with distilled water, we have to rinse the buret with the standard NaOH, that is 0.1 normal sodium hydroxide. So once the buret is rinsed with the sodium hydroxide solution, then we have to take sodium hydroxide in the buret for titration. So adjust the quantity to 0. So place the buret in the buret stand. Now we need to take the water sample in the conical flask. Before that, we need to rinse the conical flask with some quantity of water sample. we have to pipette out the water sample to the conical flask, that is around 10 ml. Before that, we need to rinse the pipette with the water sample. So now we have to pipette out around 10 ml of the sample. So now around 10 ml of water sample has been taken in the pipette, which has to be transferred to the conical flask. So 10 ml of the water sample has been pipetted to the conical flask. Now add 2 to 3 drops of methyl orange indicator. Color changes to red. Now this has to be titrated against 0.1 normal sodium hydroxide solution. Now the solution has turned to orange. Now we need to add few drops, that is 2 to 3 drops of phenolphthalein indicator. Now titrate again, that is continue the titration. Okay. Now the color has changed from so now you can see the color change, that is it has turned to pink. Note down the reading from the buret. So this completes the